today I am listening or re-listening to the album Manger on McNichols by Boldy James and Sterling Tolles. Editing me here, I noticed at the beginning here that I ended up calling this album Manger on McNichols, but it is actually called Manger on McNichols. I don't know how I made that mistake because he references McNichols on a bunch of his music. I came back to this one after 5 years because I am a huge Boldy James fan. Griselda in general. I mean, he's not really Griselda. I think he's only released maybe 1 or 2 albums actually officially under the label, but he's definitely tangentially related. Boldy is one of the most prolific rappers alive right now. I think he's probably released like 5 or 6 albums this year alone, which is pretty typical for him. 2020, he released this album, an album with Alchemist, an album with Real Bad Man, and I'm probably forgetting. Oh, I think he dropped the Versace tape with Jay Versace, the Vine star. All of those albums I have gone back to pretty consistently. The first time that I listened to this one, I remember it, not that it didn't resonate with me, I think that I just didn't give it the attention that it really deserved. I was at college at the time and just not really, I think, tapped into being more analytical about music. I was still listening to weird stuff because that's kind of always what I've enjoyed. And I remember thinking that this album was pretty weird. I had always planned on going back to this. It's been in my library, like saved, but I just haven't up to this point. Like I said before, huge Griselda fan. I listened to pretty much everything that comes out of that camp. I think I've probably given enough context for how surprising it is that I actually haven't gone back to this one. I am very excited. The reviews for it on Music Board, very positive. Yeah, let's do this one. Track number 1, we have Medusa.
As long as he could pick up something, he had a job. And that was white or black. Nowadays, there's no place to stand on the corner.
That spoken word intro was a great tone setter for what I expect from the rest of the album. Diving into what seems like gentrification and the changing of the times economically. Boldy loves calling himself a con creature. I don't think I've ever heard an album from him where he hasn't referred to himself that way. He's concrete, just like Medusa would turn one to stone. Pretty clever line.
Now my lady on my case, I'm filling out an app. All I know is how to whip dust in a parrot.
I just got goosebumps. Fuck. Oh my god. Fuck, man, what? Shit. Yeah, wow. That one kind of had me tearing up. I think it was just the visceral emotion to it. The instrumental was absolutely beautiful. Like the woman in the background just belting her heart out. I think part of the reason why it resonated with me so much is because I have had a lot of family members go through incarceration and having to readjust to the outside world. Is I've seen how difficult of a struggle that can be, and the way in which Boldy is talking about that experience on this track, it's very effective. Okay, track 2 is Welcome to the 76.
We're very seldom do we run from the pose. Tell them welcome to my humble abode.
Welcome to 76.
A picture of rough family and Lord in the middle of their bulletin board. Square on your familiar, look at me dead in my retina. But kind creatures live forever.
Man, the beat here is just jarring. I mean, it's beautiful. The beat sort of reminds me of another one of my favorite rappers of all time, Ka. His album Honor Killed the Samurai, which uses kind of similar soundscapes, but here it is much more jazz oriented. What an interesting sound. And the contrast between his subject matter, it just makes it hit so much harder. A lot more depressive with it. It's not jazzy in a like snap your fingers and tap your foot kind of way. Like, this is almost spiritual. The Manger on McNichols name, I guess, kind of makes sense with spiritual analogy.
He tried to hold his breath, but we drowned him, overstepped his boundaries. It wasn't.
Welcome to 76.
God damn, man. It almost sounds like he's bitter about his circumstance and his upbringing. The whole, you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and stars. It sort of sounds like he's describing himself as a product of his environment, which obviously in such a circumstance where the only way to come up is to do some of these horrible things. I really love the judge sign and permission slips line. It kind of captures how casually a judge will assign somebody a super long or even life sentence without really considering the true impact that has on somebody's life, not really considering the context for what they've done, why they needed to do it. Living under a system that is quite literally built for you not to succeed. In such a circumstance, the government would much rather have one die or be locked up in prison for the rest of their life. So, yeah, the aforementioned bitterness here is definitely warranted. Awesome track, though. Just like the first one, amazing. Very different from any other jazz rap I've heard. And like I said, I've heard a lot of it. Now we have track 3, Detroit River Rock.
Hell Block, 6 Mile, Drugs on 76, Kind Creatures, yeah. Okay. The true perch like
Oh my
in the
god.
scale.
Shit. What, like, what? This, like, drumless, the cycling vocals in the background, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, what the fuck? The brrr, the beat is bizarre. This is wild. I really do enjoy drumless hip-hop, but this is definitely one of the weirder beats that I've heard in that lane.
Bullets is cheaper than booth rent, so pressure look. Clipboard, drop, reload,
Oh
lock
my
and load,
God.
click, draw, cock and hold, rock and
No
roll,
fucking
get
way.
fire in the hole, like.
This beat is absolutely unreal. Holy shit. And Boldy, like, this sheer hunger on this album. I know that a lot of the vocals were recorded 10 to 13 years in advance of this album's actual release. Originally, these vocals were apparently over more traditional sample-based boom bap production, but Sterling Tolles took the time, a long time, to get a bunch of original musicians together. I think it was like 10 or 20 of them, and recorded these amazing soundscapes. Like, wow, I gotta go back a little bit because holy shit, when those drums came in.
Clipboard, drop, reload, lock and load, fire in the hole, like. I kept it moved. Before I let that happen, I shoot him and 10 niggas who look just like. And my felony telling myself. Cause Karen Creature smell fit. My man doing the life sentence on his 12 year. They threw the book at him and he didn't even tear up.
Oh my god. The way that he's using lines that tie into the vocal sample right before it cuts in, like, don't worry, be happy, and then the don't let a tear fall from your eye, and then they threw the book at him and he didn't even tear up. He sounds totally in sync with the beats, and these aren't even the original beats that he was rapping over.
Discharge fire in the hole like
The horns.
couldn't even cry, just held his head high like every day.
Oh man,
24/7
no,
dope
this is
fiends.
unreal.
Gate to they nose, please. K's in the 40s with the chrome slings, HKs and mini 14s.
I don't know how many songs I can say this about that on my first time hearing it, like, that is one of the best hip-hop songs I've ever heard in my life. I've heard probably over 1,000 hip-hop albums. The delivery, the writing, the way that Boldy is feeding off of the beat, it's like a symbiotic relationship. I don't really have words to describe just how immaculate that song is. The next one, track 4, is called BB Butcher.
Gotta be built for this. Born alone, die alone, king alone.
Oh, it's back, okay.
Oh, we can see you with the pots that ain't never seen the stove.
The pots that I never seen the stove. Obviously, seems like it's like a preface to going on like a march or a protest, but that sounds like it's in reference to Whip and Coke.
For the ghetto is hoodlums trying to make a way out of nowhere.
This beat is also so intricate. It sounds like the drums are building. Again, the way that the vocal sampling is integrated into the beat is just, it's perfect.
McNichols on some Lodge boy shit. 6 Mile, Brick Mile, Southfield Freeway. I'm in that brick house on Archdale and PA. Get quenched till I clinch tender legal reserve. Federal promissory notes.
If I sit on my bag,
I'ma be flat broke.
so I sit on my ass.
If I could get cash flow, I think these niggas and these bitches out to give me. Rising flat.
Like, what are these beats? They're so good. The drumming on here is just immaculate. Every component that goes into these beats just sounds like it fits its place so perfectly. And the way that the melodies are varying within the beats, like Boldy's steady monotone flow just fits perfectly over them. I could see the criticism on some of his other music where he doesn't really vary up his delivery and his flows. It's not very often that he's rapping with like a brisk flow, but here it's the best utilization of his vocal style that I've ever heard from him. This is just different. I don't know how I could have listened to this 5 years ago and not appreciated just what he was doing here. So the next track number 5, is called The Middle of Next Month.
Tires go board, and they need some brand new meat. Till it put, stall out, transmission leak on your mommy and your car. Tell them happy Father's Day, tell them happy Kwanzaa, tell her happy Mother's Day. Us with all that transacting, just take care of my moms if something bad happens. Till bullets flying everywhere, that's the thing about this dirty game.
I didn't even want to comment on that one in the middle of it. I didn't want to pause it. That was like legitimately a banger. It was, I guess, closer to the boom bappy stuff he's done, but it still was a jazz instrumental. The drums were so fucking hard. The bass line was just so good. It was so clear in the mix. And Boldy, it's hilarious. Literally, after last track, I was talking about how monotone he is on most of his songs. But there, he sounded fucking angry. Like, there was so much passion behind all of the lines that he was saying. The beginning of the first verse was, like the introspection on here, the vulnerability, how personal a lot of these bars are. Boldy typically is just one of those rappers that makes his drug raps just sound super fucking cool. But here, it is really talking about the harsh reality of living that life. Every aspect sounds so intentional. The writing is pouring his heart out. Like, the dude had blood on his quill writing this shit. Now, track number 6 is called The Safe, The Womb. This one looks like a little interlude cut.
Was the nightmare before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was staring, not even a mouse. The light from the Christmas is wiped out. 911 call drop. That's right, when he reached and he pumped his sword off.
Really short one, only 52 seconds, but it's still awesome. The whole Christmas rhyme that he's got going on here, the "'twas the night before Christmas" aspect was just perfectly executed. The way that he ties it into street life is genius. This was released in the middle of the summer, but I totally see the Christmas kind of, or just the bitter cold of the winter. Probably the best example of a wintertime album that just feels cold is Cannibal Ox's The Cold Vein, which is like top 5 album of all time for me. You have the intro on that one where it says, "It's cold out here. I think I'm getting a little bit frosty myself." That energy is brought here. I mentioned before the aspect of being a product of one's environment, and that is a theme that is running throughout the entirety of this track list so far. The next one here is track number 7. It's called Mommy Dearest. It's a eulogy. I don't know if his mother died or if it's like a meditation on something like that.
We got hand grenades, I put his pennies, good night, sleep tight. Don't let the beer buzz bite. Concrete to Spartans, I don't show.
Yeah, again, I guess relatively close to something that you would find on a Griselda beat, but just more jazz oriented than boom bap oriented. It still has the pace and the spacious drums that really breathe in the mix. I've noticed, especially considering the last track, that he uses these kind of platitudes that are almost sort of childish. And I feel like that's an aspect that runs through the album, because this is really, it sounds like somebody telling their life story through music. This is something that his entire career built towards, which is ironic because he recorded it before any of his studio album releases. The whole theme of time here, how he started and how he got to where he is, it's
thinking, I wonder if he even love me. I love you, I just got a fucked up way of showing it.
another great bass line.
Asking her mommy where daddy went, to her daddy where mommy at. Him telling me she ain't coming back. Me looking at my 4-year-old sister, tears running down her poor little dimples. Damn, dimpled in.
Oh man, that is really, that is tough. That is tough to hear. Those first 5 bars are really, really deep. The looking at my 4-year-old sister, tears running down her poor little dimples. Damn. You can hear the raw emotion pouring out of him on this verse, and this verse, as far as mixing goes, seems to be the clearest. The vocals on some of the other tracks would be obscured in these really complex beats, and it could, come across as a mixing issue, but I think the way that everything comes together really serves that positively. But here, it really makes sense that this verse in particular is, he wants you to hear what he's saying here.
Yeah, never, that's when he let me know to never say never, because you never know.
What instrument is that in the background? Because whoever is fucking doing that is oh wow, okay, yeah, it sounded like a flute. Yeah, the swirling flute in the background. Wow, and the cello is perfect. I mean, how many hip hop songs do you see where, you see like a tenor saxophone on there, or even the way that the trombone is integrated into it. The layers to these beats are unreal.
Sucking on her breast just to stop my fucking hunger. Since I was an itty bitty baby in her stomach, I know my mother wish she got.
The end of this verse really ties into the title of the album. A lot of this imagery evokes the birth of Jesus. I'm hardly a religious guy, but the way that he integrates the story and the origins of Jesus here is really interesting.
Dear mommy, dearest, I'm dying to live, so
Again,
I stay
very
strapped.
high mixed
You tried to
vocals.
kill Nintendo, they stole them from us. The night before Christmas, the window was broken out the house we lived in. On Fairfield, I'm on consignment, I'm trying to get it, cause now I'm on some other kind of type of shit that did kill me, now I'm stronger, mama.
The Nintendo, they stole from us the night before Christmas. That one really hit for me. I think a lot of people that grew up around addicts, they have similar experiences like that.
Reference the Biggie song where he said, his mama wish she had a fucking abortion. I made a hook out of that line, and it was just, mommy dear. Always tell me to be more personal. The more personal I got, the darker my music got. And then people had to bring me back to the light and start telling me why don't you try to have fun, party more with your music.
Little spoken word section, taking a snippet from an interview with Boldy about this song itself. He refers to Suicidal Thoughts by Biggie, one of the most iconic Biggie songs and probably one of the most depressing hip-hop songs I've ever heard. He's really on the same wavelength. It's really interesting that apparently, he's saying that Sterling brought this emotion out of him. And of course, this is the darkest stuff that I have heard from him. And it piqued my interest to see that those around him were saying that he needs to basically come back to the light, which is thematically relevant to the religious undertones of the whole thing. And them telling him, why don't you try to have fun and party more with your music? It really makes sense that his career went on the trajectory that it did after this, considering that this sounds like something that he really just needed to get out and then move on from it. He expressed all of this, he laid it out across almost 43 minutes, inspiring that he was able to overcome these feelings and kind of turn them on their head. And then to go on and rap about the positive things, one could say more materialistic things, but I think it's almost warranted when you have gone through what Boldy is describing here. It's really like a victory lap. Next one here, Birth of Bold, The Christening. Leah sample. Cool. R&B tinged kind of lovey track. Interesting in here. So jazzy.
Ain't nothing but one more game with guns in both hands. Drum roll.
Ooh. Damn, those synths in the background, they're almost like G-Funk. Probably the most, I guess you could say, lighthearted here. It still has some darker undertones, but yeah, I fuck with this one. It's a nice variation from the sound that he was doing here, but it still fits within the context of the rest of the album.
Hugs, cry, teardrops, and closed caskets. Me to bring her, she was right there. Reason your
He's rapping about the darker aspects of himself as a person, but he's almost romanticizing them. It's almost sensual. It's a really interesting dynamic that he has going on here. And the Aaliyah sample with the I don't mean to be bold. It's almost like saying that he doesn't mean to be the way that he is, or he doesn't necessarily want to be the way that he is in this context, but it's sort of forced upon him. He doesn't want to feel like people are afraid of him because of the connotation around the stuff that he raps about and the aura that he gives off.
Yourself off and try
Lean
again
bass
and
again.
nurse your self-esteem. Andre's got a 44 auto, man. Guaranteed to tag a toe and zip a body bag. Both
You can sort of hear this like sampled gunshot in the background, or at least that's what it sounds like. Yeah, right there. Yeah, you can hear the cock of the gun and the firing.
took my hood over, had my people strong. We was young, banging purple top, selling 3 for 1s. Got knocked, opened up my Bible, now I'm reading songs. When we be good, when niggas see me, they run. Now you tell me who won. This for all my 23 and 1.
Wow. The last verse is probably one of my favorite moments on the entire album. That was definitely one of the quicker flows that I've ever heard from him. But it almost got like noise rap-ish. There were these tones in the background that were just sort of wailing on. Throughout the whole song, you have this, the gun cocking and then firing consistently, and it serves as like a percussive element, and that is really well done. I like that one a lot. Alright, we got track number 9, Requiem.
Put up for adoption or foster parents at the orphanage. The social worker, she can give a fuck, she got her own problems. Brody wanted for an open murder, that's his role model. Growing up, all he seen was a Seagull's chrome roll bottle.
This is
was running through the bundles. Came up short, he had to shoot his uncle. Wishing they never put his nana in that nursing home. Herpes gone, little cuz walking down that nickel trying to hurry home. They had to go back and reword the song. Sipping Aki, ran out of backies, now we burning cones. Never mix business with blood, they don't belong. And it hurt to kill a nigga you love when they hit close to home.
Another really beautiful beat. This last leg feels like it's getting a little bit lighter and more laid back and melodic, as opposed to the organized chaos that was going on previous tracks. The cello and the bass throughout, they've both just been perfect, along with the drumming. I mean, honestly, I can't really pick out a weak performance as far as the instrumentalists here. Dope track, all dope tracks, so it's kind of even reductive to say. Second to last track, it's called Why Are You In Her? Or Why Are You In Here?
There's 6 million ways to die to choose from. Hardest thing to do is stay alive, go to school, son. What's new, been here down a few months. Why is you in here?
Second interlude here, still dense with pertinent subject matter. Definitely getting more glistening and pretty, legitimately pretty, which I wouldn't necessarily describe the beginning of the album as pretty, but there's a real arc here. The outro, got flicked, the rebirth. We're reaching the resurrection here. Coming out of the cave, moving that massive boulder.
Fresh off of doing that bit, and these niggas hating. Cause I ain't got conditions of parole or probation. When they ask me how'd I do it, I say inside of trading, Martha Stewart. We organize the block, we make the shifts. We make shit out of ourselves and still turn my back on my mama. This too shall pass, now I'm shackled by my brain to the floor of a bus with some strangers. Clicked up with some demons. Got into it with some lifers. Learned to communicate with angels. Ready to poke a nigga eye out. Could've been born in the manger. Fell in love with my anger. Back in my mind I'm thinking, damn, probably could've been president if I ain't grow up a Detroit resident. Infatuated with my 4 elements. Money, power, respect, and the concrete.
That was the only full rap verse from a feature on here. Track 2 had First Lady Deja, but she seemed to only be doing like ad-libs or kind of like saying lines alongside Boldy. So I actually found out after recording this video that Deja is a young Dej Loaf, which is really fucking cool considering that she shows up on another track as an adult. Here we get Louis P. Newton, Huey P. Newton reference, I guess. Another fun fact for you, if you didn't already know, Huey P. Newton is one of the co-founders of the Black Panthers alongside Bobby Seale. Really loved this feature. It was a perfect inclusion. It sounds like a conclusion to everything thematically on the album. The religious elements, the themes of incarceration, kind of has like a First Day Out energy to it. It sounds like he like wrote this in a cell block, and first thing he did was hop in the studio when he got out.
Drugs on.
Wow.
Pale moonlight, you niggas never dance with the devil. The sandwich bag full of pebbles,
Damn,
and it's
damn.
max if they catch you. It's real life shit, this ain't Hansel
going
and
hard
Gretel.
now.
Man, this is hella low. Who in the hell is think that
God
they
damn,
killing
chills,
dope?
chills
Pen
again.
deep in my jeans, lemon squeeze, I let it blow if you ready to leave. Hit the keys, the heavy go. Hubba Rocks got the fiends running back with singles. Chasing a hat they ain't seen since selling crack was legal. Facing, took off my county blues, put on my free throws, kicked off my shower shoes, then threw my piece on, threw my D fitted on. They call me King James Jones, it's written stone. On the hill, tipping over skills to provide for the fam.
Sounds like he's rapping for the prison phone.
Brick in the prison, hoping that this fan charge don't stick to my black ass. Put rhinos in my black man, black flag, red rag, representing brick slab, 6 flags, 7 6 a big F, big bag, geek cash, selling niggas brick slabs, big hair, 17s and Nick bags, Nick Nab, eagle with the clip stash, whip blast, quick fast, miss me with the river ass, snitch ass, kiss ass, dick sucking bitch man, his mankind, bitches wet side.
Shit. The last half of that verse is some of the best rapping I've ever heard from him. The internal rhymes there. That verse was just hitting so fucking hard. Man, that flute.
It was surreal, you know, like colors were just brighter. Like I had never seen them before. Like I had never seen the color of the leaves on the tree or something.
Perfect finale for this. Ties everything together thematically. The last spoken word little outro there. It sounds like somebody describing getting out of jail, being so distant, surrounded by concrete, bland concrete, to seeing the color of leaves on a tree, sunlight reflecting off the paint of a car. He describes it as surreal to be able to wake up and realize that all of that turmoil of being imprisoned is truly behind you. That was Manger on McNichols by Boldy James, produced by Sterling Tolls. I don't even know what I can say that I haven't already said. I think that this album is incredible. I normally, after listening to an album for the first time, have a really hard time calling it like a 10 out of 10 or calling it perfect, but there is not a single weak moment on that entire project. Everything hits so hard. Everything feels so intentional. I feel like I have no choice but to give this a 10 out of 10. That was one of my favorite listening experiences I've had in a long time. I thought going back to this, I might as well record it, and I'm really glad that I did, because being able to look back at how profound of an impact it had on me in comparison to how it didn't really hit with me or stick with me previously when I'd first heard it half a decade ago. I don't think that I have any more words that could truly articulate just how much I enjoyed this. If for whatever reason you watch this and you haven't heard this album in its entirety, that is definitely the way to listen to this album. It's definitely not one of those albums where a bunch of tracks feel like singles or like, oh, this is the clear like radio track. True artistry on display from front to back. My music board is in the description if you want to check that out, see what other albums I really love. I have like a top 100 albums list as well as a top 100 hip-hop albums list. This is definitely gonna shoot up on the latter list. I think that I have Bo Jackson by Boldy on that list as of right now, but this is undoubtedly taking its place. I'm sure this is going to be one of the longer videos that I ever do as far as reaction review, but it's totally warranted here. Yup. Nothing else to say. 10 out of 10.